I'm Andrew Phillips. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to show you how to install baffle in your cathedral ceiling or your attic ceiling, and that's what's needed to go down before you apply insulation. So let's go ahead and get started. To complete this project, all you'll need are the rafter vent baffles for your specific project. Make sure that you go ahead and you measure out so that way you get the correct amount that you'll need, the correct width. Next, you're going to need a staple gun, whether it be a manual one like I have here or an electric one. Some kind of a cutting tool, whether it be scissors or a knife, so you can go ahead and cut the pieces as needed, and then a measuring tape, and that's all you need to get started. First thing that you need to do is you need to determine what size of baffle you're going to need. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to measure between the two rafters to see exactly what the width is, so you purchase the proper baffle. There's different kinds of baffle that you can get. Here's some images of some of the ones out there. Now the one that I'm using, and I'm going to show you in a minute, you can purchase that, and I'll put the information along the bottom, but you can get it at Home Depot, Lowe's, places like that. I believe the other ones as well. But let's go ahead, we'll get this measurement, and then I'll show you the baffle that I'm going to be using. So I have the measuring tape here. We're looking at just about 15 inches on the inside of the rafters. So that's what we're going to be looking to match to go in there. So let me show you the baffle that I picked up, and then we'll get started. Now this is the baffle that I picked, and if we get a measurement here, it's about 14 inches wide, which is perfect because we have about 15 inches in between the rafters. So this will fit perfect, and then we'll just staple the ends in and we'll feed it through, which I'm going to show you in a minute. But this baffle here, along the bottom is where I got it, and the price it is per 3-foot section. It can get costly depending on the project you're working on, but you want to do it right. So now that we've got that done, let's go ahead and get started. You also want to get a good measurement from the eaves vents all the way up as far as you're going to be running the insulation. If you're going all the way up to the tip, then measure all that. If not, then wherever you're going to cut it off.
Looking down here in between these rafters, that's your eaves vent right there. You can see the openings there where the airflow would normally come in and hit the ceiling right here of the roof right here, this the wood. And that's what you don't want to be blocking, because that airflow is there for a reason. So that can come in and flow up to the top vent of your roof. If you put the insulation and glob it all the way down in here, you're going to block all that up. You're going to build up moisture in between the insulation and the actual wood, causing mold, warping, water damage, things like that that can be destructive. You don't want to mess with that. So we're going to go ahead and apply the vent from the baffle and actually run that air up through that opening, so that way it can flow through and breathe properly. So the first thing that we're going to do, we're going to take our measuring tape and we're going to get a measurement here of that drop right there. So we're looking at approximately probably 7 to 8 inches, which is going to take us from here to here. So we'll have the baffle come down and then we'll cut it to drop, so that way the airflow can still come up and then hit that opening in the baffle and flow properly up. Let's measure the 7.5. So that's going to put us approximately right about here. I'm just going to come up to this seam. So we'll go ahead here. Cut that on that side. We'll come on this side here and cut the same thing. Make sure we have a good cut. There we go. So then now, let's see, and I'll show you how this will bend now. It'll fold right on that edge right there. So then we can go ahead and bend this accordingly, so that way we can tuck it down in. And then if we're looking at it here from this side, so you would have your eaves vent here. This is going to wedge in like this. The insulation is going to be tucked in here, so the air will come in, hit this channel, and flow all the way up to your top of your roof there to the vent so it can breathe, and the insulation will be within here, so any moisture and air can still flow without getting caught up in there and getting trapped in the insulation. So we'll slide that there. shot from underneath. You'll see how that goes right in place.
And here you can see it coming down, and then it curves down, blocking it, so that vent can then properly breathe through, and then it'll ride up right in here. And let's pull this down and I'll show you. So this is what the baffle looks like. You can see there how it has this little trench in here, and that's where the air will flow. So it'll come up here and flow right up through here and head up towards the main vent at the top of the roof, and I'll show you that.
And that's what you want to do, is you want to keep that airflow coming up in between those rafters so it can still breathe through right there. You don't want to block that and cause problems. And looking down here, the eaves vent is right on the other side of that flap. So what I've done is I've taken the baffle, brought it down, and then cut it and then bent it down, so that way it's blocking it off. So if we pull back a little bit, the insulation piece will tuck all the way here, and that way the eaves vent has full clearance to come up, hit this channel, and work its way up without getting caught up in where the insulation is. But that's how you pretty much want it to be. You want to kind of seal that off, and let me show you how to do that.
Okay, so the next thing is I'm going to go ahead and put this in place. We're going to get the staple gun out. We're going to start stapling these in, and we'll start moving along, and then we'll be back to see how it turns out. This is the first piece of baffle that you lay. Then where you connect it, right here you can see how it's been overlapped right there, but that's how you want to do it. And then you see how it's stapled in place. And pretty much you're working it that way, so as the air is kind of coming in, that's overlapping. So if you head it the other way, the air would still leak out, so you want it to kind of flow through. And then once you get to the top, you'll measure accordingly and then add whatever piece is needed to finish it off. Here's everything with the baffle vents along this wall here. You can see it. And you might be wondering why I ended it here when the center of the roof with the main vent is up there. And the reason I did is because you can see these cross beams here. That's where the ceiling is going to go. You're going to have the drywall coming up and then curving over here. So pretty much these vents are just going above that ceiling line, approximately 20 inches. So that'll give enough space for when the drywall's in place. We'll put the layer of the R38 attic insulation and then still have enough clearance there for the vents to rise above it, so that way any airflow moisture can then rise up into this open area here and out through the vent. All right, well, that pretty much wraps up this video on how to install the baffle rafter vents in your attic or cathedral ceiling or anywhere where you're keeping the airflow going from your eaves vents up to your roof vent. I hope this video was informative for you. I hope it helped you out. The next step is that you would then apply the actual insulation. If you want to see how to do that, you can check it out via the link above, where I have a video where I show how to install the insulation itself. I'll also have a link in the description of this video that you can check out if you want to see that and take it to the next level. Please send me any questions, comments. I would love to hear from you. As always, I appreciate all the support. So please like the video, subscribe to the channel. I'll see you next time.